Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and Iman here from the Block Runner, MetaZone, and Rovi. And today, Iman brought up a good little tweet from Otherside Meta.
Well, yeah, one tweet, but like led us down a rabbit hole as usual.
As usual.
Because Otherside it's the other side, dude. It's the biggest. What do they call themselves? It's just the biggest, the talk of the town as far as like Metaverse and Web3 at the moment. Right?
Yeah, and so really, we're going to be talking about Improbable, M Squared.
Yuga Labs a little bit.
Yuga Labs, Morpheus technology.
Which is like an improbable proprietary, I guess, tech layer.
Product.
And M Squared's a new entity that spun up, I think, a couple months ago. So obviously pinged our radar real quickly because of their mission statement.
Right.
And if I could recall, it's going back to their, profile bio one-liner.
Yeah.
Something along the lines of, creating this interoperability frameworks for like an interconnecting network of metaverses, right? So, damn, sounds familiar, don't it? Sounds a lot like the stuff
we've been saying. For years now.
It feels like it's been years, because we recognize when we got this community or this ecosystem of content creators. So to expand their worth and their value within the broader metaverse ecosystem, there have to be a way for this content to be deployable throughout, not just in these singular silos, right?
Right.
It's the same dilemma the blockchain space has, like of siloed metaverses, right? It's very limiting. It's very yucky.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I totally agree. And what's interesting about their tech is Improbable is working with Yuga Labs and Bored Apes in their metaverse. And what they're going to be enabling is thousands of people in that world.
Yeah, that's what we looked into. So why is that important?
Well, I think the immersion of it, I think it's important.
Yeah.
There's obviously metaverses that exist today, but they don't have thousands of concurrent players.
Not yet. But you could definitely envision like moments when that would be necessary, right? Like, remember the Decentraland had Deadmau5 concert? So the way Decentraland works is I think max capacity is usually like around 100 or so users. Wait, isn't it? Maybe it's more now, but let's call it less than 1,000, right?
Yeah.
Like, I guess that's decent enough for like a small scale, like, concert type experience. But like when you're trying to, I guess, replicate or emulate what happens in the real world as far as like an experience, you're talking, tens of thousands, potentially hundreds.
For sure.
So the technology, I guess, hasn't made sense like in the gaming industry. Like, how do we leverage this, right? So, but in the metaverse, it makes much more sense.
Yeah, let's read this tweet from Otherside Meta. It says here, we came, we saw, we made fart noises. Here, a look back at our unforgettable inaugural first trip together. So 4,620 players.
That's a lot.
2,500 live stream viewers or views.
Pretty good. And
Coda booty for days.
I'm not sure what that means, but okay.
Not sure either. But they're showing a pretty good, pretty cool shot, like montage of everything that occurred during this test. And I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, just by looking at it, it looks like something, Fortnite would be promoting. Like, this is, I don't know, Fortnite Metaverse. So I think, Improbable has a huge history as far as, providing game development services for the traditional game space. So
right.
It's no surprise, like, they're creating a product that's like, AAA standard, right?
Yeah.
Something that would actually attract the everyday gamer.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
That's what it looks like to me.
But what are you seeing in this video, though?
It's a lot of jumping around for now,
And sort of like music. And
dude, they look like ants. Look at all those little tiny apes, dude. But that's the whole point, right? There's just so many of them. So that's what's so difficult, right? Like from a tech perspective, it's always hard to get that many people in like a single spot.
Yeah.
And I remember back in my days of playing World of Warcraft, I remember they had like an event where they launched a dungeon. Mm-hmm. And they wanted everybody in the server to come to like the gate of the dungeon and like, do some shit to like unlock it.
Sure.
And like once the gate opened and like these like big ass monsters came out, it like all the servers crashed.
Oh really?
All of them.
Well, why?
It's just I don't think that the technology is scalable for like have that many like concurrent present avatars in one.
But it's just
location.
a GLB coming out, so it must have been something else. Like,
well, I think it's just the idea of trying to attract the whole server population to like the same location in the world. You know, it's a vast world.
Yeah,
you can have up to like 100,000 people in that server. I don't know about concurrently, but server habitants.
Yeah.
Let's call it like 10,000, 20,000 concurrent users, but they're spread out throughout the world, right? But whenever you create these events that like you're galvanizing them all to like a single spot.
Yeah.
I guess on the technical back end side, like that's just not sustainable.
Right.
you know? So yeah, this is very important technology that I think the metaverse has to leverage.
I totally agree. But what I was alluding to is the activity here in these videos. It's mostly like for entertainment, right? For the most part, right? They do have
they did demo a little boss
battle,
fight.
A boss fight.
Yeah.
And so I think we were talking offline about how the main use case for the metaverse is basically music, entertainment, social experiences.
That's what we've seen through our experience in Decentraland, right?
Right.
That's what the founding team or foundation has been really pushing over the last several years. Is like this is the demonstration of like their metaverse, right? Let's attract these artists, DJs, whatever, performers. Let's put on these big events, and I think a lot of that was catalyzed because of what Fortnite did with these Travis Scott concerts and stuff.
Right.
So there's like a competition going on with like who can like, recreate that, in the metaverse.
Right.
But is it sustainable? Like, is it going to actually get tracked?
See, that's where I wanted to take the conversation. Is it really going to create an incentive for landowners to purchase and monetize their land outside of just trying to flip it?
Yeah, because how do you get landowners involved in this? This
exactly
event,
focused use case.
Yeah, I don't think you really do. It's instead, it's just.
And so it goes back to the other side, Metaverse, where they did a huge land sale. They made like $500 million selling land. And we're speculating as to what are the incentive models for landowners to actually construct in that world.
Yeah.
And so I know Otherside Meta, they're working on an SDK.
Yeah, once we heard that was like great.
Juice.
Eureka, right? Good news. Like, dude, hell yeah. Any metaverse with a good, SDK, that's a good start.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. So,
but I think there's an article, too, that we found.
Yeah, let's see.
Where basically the CEO of Improbable and M Square, Narulo, we're really starting to learn more about this guy. I like a lot what he's saying. He has a lot of the similar thoughts, and the fact that he's come to that realization. Everybody's like back and forth trying to figure out what the hell is the metaverse. He's defining it in the same sense we are. He's calling it the virtual society. It is the next existence layer for humanity.
That's right.
He's not afraid to say it. Like, as radical as that sounds and potentially dystopic, people might, hear that and be like, dude, this is like devil juice type shit. Like we should not, we shouldn't allow this, right? Because what does that mean for the future of, our children,
our society,
our psychology, our nature, our souls and stuff like this, right?
Yeah, we're going to turn into Ready Player One where everybody's like wearing headsets all day.
Yeah. I mean, just for optimal metaverse performance, right? So your body could stay alive for a few hours. Okay, let's not go that deep into like the actual potential dystopic elements of it, but nonetheless, we agree with his perspective, right?
Right.
On what the metaverse matures into. So, by saying virtual societies, with that implies, magnificent economic, activity, right? A society is like a conglomeration of just inhabitants, and in order for them to, sustain a life for themselves, like they have to participate in an economy. So the thing I don't like about what he's saying is, the focus is more on the social aspect, the whole, like, let's create these cool parties and stuff like that. So like this isn't like a sustainable economic model.
But the reason why he mentions that is if you read the article, he's talking about how it's the lowest hanging fruit. It is what brings people together and showcases the technology in like the most efficient way. Because he mentions like making a game is just too difficult, it takes too long, and then you have to deal with like the economies of the game. Yeah, but that's where the digital nation or the virtual societies is really going to take hold.
But we've seen this already with Decentraland, man. Like they have the same perspective. I think it's like we're going to host great social events, great parties. We're going to get everyone to build HQ buildings in our metaverse and stuff.
Right.
And that's largely resulted in minimal stickiness, like retention. Like that's the critical component. Like how's the metaverse, retain my attention when there's so much other badass shit to do in life, right?
Right.
I'd rather go plug in my Xbox because it's way more fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm gonna go to work because I make way more money doing that than I would, spending time in this X metaverse, right?
But you know what? Not everybody can say that on the planet.
That's true. Exactly.
And most people can't say that on the planet, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, most. Yeah,
there's billions, like 2-3 billion people without the ability to say that for the most part.
So that's where the differing of, like, I guess, opinions. Like, I don't think you address like the entertainment side first. I don't know.
I think you can, and you probably should, because it's the easiest from like a technical perspective. You don't have to generate an entire ecosystem of a metaverse game like the one we're creating.
But again, think about it. Yeah, if that's the focus, then you're just creating cool events. People come, 100,000 people log in for like 2 hours.
Yeah,
they're gone after the 2 hour event because there's nothing else to do.
Right.
There's no value to accrue.
I agree. Ultimately, like the result of something like that, it's like I feel entertained, and that was a cool experience. It's very immersive.
It was dope.
But what happens is, I think the market will mature, and then they're going to expect a lot more engagement, a lot more like, what else can I do besides listen to music with my friends? Like, can I like play to earn, for example?
Yeah.
Right. What other activities could I do?
Yeah, and this is also, this opinion, or I guess this discussion, is shy of, I think, a lot more details that just haven't been like unveiled for the Otherside metaverse, and
that's true.
M Squared's focus, so right now this is just what we were seeing from like their demo, right? So
yeah,
I think it's on the right track. I mean, it definitely looks like a spectacle, which is good.
For
Spectacles are always,
they're great for social media.
Yeah, like marketing wise, like everybody's eyes are fixed on this metaverse, right? For a good reason. It's like, damn. For one, there's FOMO. It's like, dude, I want to party with all these lads.
Yeah.
Do I need a Bored Ape to do that or not? Like, if so, shit, I can't afford that. That's for sure. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But maybe you could be delegated one though, or something. I don't know. These are details that have yet to been talked about.
So in the article, they talk about like the scope of their tech. Mm-hmm. They can have potentially up to 10,000 players. Maybe 30 to 40,000 is really their kind of like middle ground, and then their peak is like around 100,000 players. So then we're speculating as like, okay, they sold a bunch of land, they made $500 million or so, Yuga Labs. They're using Improbable's tech to enable thousands of concurrent players.
Yep.
What is the motivation for the landowner to, construct stuff, right? And so and then it goes back to the SDK. So then it goes back to the ultimate problem that we solved, where developers are going to be key to the metaverse, right?
Yep.
And so now we're going to have to enable and empower developers to come in and create engaging content, because landowners who have one parcel are not going to host, Snoop Dogg in the metaverse, right?
Yeah.
So
the good news, and maybe like the only like changed variable like in this equation of the Otherside compared to, Decentraland and other like early Web3 metaverse attempts, is part of that metaverse trilemma that we've identified early on.
Right.
Of the fact that why developers aren't contributing and getting involved in the development side of things to create content is because, there's a lack of player liquidity present within the metaverse. So it's like there's real no opportunity to create some product of value or service and like, get some return on that development effort. It's expensive to develop things, high risk with no reward. Who the hell would take that risk, right?
That's
Only
right.
us.
That's right. That's right.
But on the other side, this, in my opinion, is probably it is the richest player liquidity pool in existence, and like in the whole Web3 space.
100%.
The Bored Ape community, they have basically like the lion's share of like the whole NFT like market capitalization as far as like value.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, so
and social power.
That too.
Yeah.
So it changes things a little bit. Now all of a sudden, developers, once that SDK is unlocked, I'm sure they're gonna like realize that like, okay, there's opportunity here, much more opportunity here than in other existing metaverses, right?
100%.
So it kind of like skews that trilemma issue a little bit in favor of the developers now.
Yeah,
because this is a different environment.
That's true.
So as long as they can continue to pump out these cool events and like market the shit out of it, which Yuga Labs is probably one of the best marketing forces in the NFT space. I mean, they did the Bored Apes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I totally agree. I mean, and part of the platform's responsibility is to create content, create tools and technology like they did to have 40,000 concurrent players into a single server.
Yeah.
And so that's going to pique the interest of developers. They're like, oh, I can have 30,000 players. Then you have like Fall Guys. All of a sudden, you have these little characters running through some maze or something, right?
Yeah.
And all of this happening in the metaverse. Like, that's going to be cool, right? That's something, that's an app that a developer or a landowner would like to purchase and deploy on their land because it's going to attract people.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I think with this technology that Improbable is making with Morpheus, it enables and encourages developers to come in and start experimenting.
Yeah.
Right? Because we haven't really seen this like in Fortnite. Like, they don't have 10,000 players in a single map.
No.
Right?
I think 50 or 100 or somewhere around there.
Yeah. And so with this, like, you could see that happening.
Yeah.
And it would be like an immense chaos, to enable Fortnite with like 10,000 players in a single server.
Absolutely.
But it would be awesome to see, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, so what's the point of all this? So obviously Otherside's very important. We gotta keep our eyes on them because they are like the basically the big showcase of like, is there a future for Web3 metaverses or not? And they like they're going full on spectacle mode, full on like let's attack the existing like video game industries and stuff like that, and let's try and siphon away like the player network effect from them.
You saw that there was an article titled "We Have a Better Metaverse Than You, Zuckerberg." And that came from Narula, right?
Yeah, it's just that's a direct shot. Everybody likes to take shots at Zuck these days.
It's easy.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
And it's marketable. It's just like so. It's good to see another one do that.
So we watched Narula's TED Talk, which was very interesting, and what we took away from this TED Talk is that he's saying a lot of the stuff that we've been saying.
Yeah, but he's that TED Talk was like 4 years ago though, right? Remember?
That was right.
Like in 2016 or something.
Oh wow, yeah.
So before we even got involved, this guy was already like on that wave. You know? But it's because he spent 10 years developing tech for like this inevitability, right? Like
that's quite the gamble for 10 years.
Yeah, imagine.
I mean,
especially
we always talk about how the Metaverse Standards Forum, like, it exists today, but it didn't exist 10 years ago. Like, why all of a sudden now does it matter? Yeah. And it's because of blockchain. And so I think you made a huge bet, and it's paying off.
Yeah, it's going to. And then why pay attention to this guy, this organization, this all these efforts and stuff is because M Squared, the new entity that it is, I think there's enough information out there to speculate on an eventual token drop, right? A token release.
He mentions that. We
don't need to speculate that it's coming at some point.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
This is like going to be the kickstart to, I think, the next, metaverse mania sector. Because we've been talking about this. There's lots of metaverse like projects that are emerging with tokens, to support their economy and stuff.
Right.
But there isn't like metaverse infrastructure projects yet. This is like one of the first big ones we could like put our finger on. Like this is like a base layer technology frameworks for like a next generation of metaverse stuff. So when you're looking at this from like a speculative perspective, like these are the types of projects you need to get in early on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. And when it goes back, I keep thinking about this Metaverse Standards Forum, and we have Decentraland as the leading metaverse platform right now, at least in the Web3 space. And then we have Improbable building like important technology for the metaverse. Yeah. And
it's hard, dude.
It is hard.
We've been doing it for 3 years. It's shit.
Yeah.
It's hard. And we see like, okay, like the existing zeitgeist is like, oh, you just need to tap into like DAO funds or something so you can, get a few $100,000, get a team together, build some stuff. It's not that easy.
It's not. Yeah, for sure.
It's so frameworks
complex. You have to create ecosystems, economies for content. It's definitely difficult. So we have Narula and Improbable making cool tech. And so I guess what I was trying to refer to as far as the Metaverse Standards Forum is that it didn't seem like these big dogs, Decentraland and Improbable, are contributing to that Metaverse standard.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, which is I find interesting.
Yeah, I think it's just the emergence of clearly like two sides, right? It's the Web 2 native like
which is mostly the standards forum is
It
Web
is
2.
them, yeah. It's just it's Samsung and video. Like the
Yeah.
participants of these calls we've been seeing is like you just boomer world.
Yeah.
No offense. But, yeah, like, you know, entities like, you know, M Squared or Decentraland, yeah, they're coming out saying like Decentraland recently is like we're protocoling like our efforts up until this point. Like we're gonna create standards ourselves. Yeah, like we don't need you Web 2 worlds. Like we have our own philosophies, our own like, you know, principles that we can, you know, incorporate into these standards. So
yeah.
And like we've been talking about the Web 2 space, I mean, they're gonna have to, I think, adjust.
Yeah, absolutely.
To the Web 3 standards at some point.
They have to. Just, I mean, it goes back to our definition of the metaverse. It has to include blockchain. It has to include ownership. It has to include an economic viability for landowners to even purchase land. Otherwise, people are just wasting their money, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
well, yeah. Who wants to be part of a society where like I get no, like, I don't make value. I can't. Yeah. My contribution or like presence is not being like compensated.
Yeah.
You know, like nobody wants to be a part of a society like that. You flee from those types of society where there's no opportunity.
Right. Exactly.
That's a failed society.
Yeah,
right?
and we've seen that in the real world.
Exactly. And there's an abundance of that like happening.
Yeah.
In the physical reality. So obviously it's a tall like statement to say like the virtual space is going to like solve that.
Yeah.
But it has to be the focus because I mean that.
Yeah. And
I think that is the biggest opportunity.
You mentioned something interesting. Can the virtual space solve that? The problem with lack of opportunities in countries.
Like it's somehow creating like virtual value flows that humanity gravitates to and like is like becomes, you know, innately interested in participating in, you know?
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that the metaverse solves it specifically. I think the metaverse enables more opportunities because you're not held to the local economies anymore. Mm-hmm. Now you're able to participate in a digital economy. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's what the metaverse can do.
Yeah.
And that's a huge deal for the 2 to 3 billion people who cannot say that I can just go get a job and make more money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's why I think the metaverse and like the definition of it has to include blockchain, has to include all these like Web3 native protocols, where it can actually enable this digital nation of multiple participants across the globe. Mm-hmm. And in a lot of cases, like you were saying, it's not going to be fun to participate, but it's going to be more opportunistic for those types of people.
Yeah, exactly. But even like in absence of fun, it's still like in context of like you're living a life, you know, to improve, you know, your economic status, right? So like, what I'm doing at this moment in time in this virtual environment might not be fun. Might feel like a chore.
Right.
It's like, damn, I really don't want to do this, but you know what? Why am I doing this? So I can like, you know, increase my economic status. So whenever, you know, Otherside has like this amazing event, you know,
I can actually participate,
and I can show up in my motherfucking, you know, flying suit. That just like it's just so, you know, flex all that hard work and sweat you put into your, you know, your online, your on chain, you know, contributions. Basically.
Sure.
So I mean, yeah, it's interesting. We're definitely going to keep up with the other side.
For sure.
And Improbable and M Squared.
The most important thing that they're building is an SDK. That's for us. For us to use and leverage, which we will.
Yeah, just like go back in time in 2020 and pre that, and like on this channel, like we spent a lot of time just talking about Decentraland and the tech they were rolling out, like the games we could create. So we're going to be doing the same thing for the other side.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Part of our content.
So let us know what you think about the other side and improbable Morpheus technology. What else? Yeah, I mean the whole metaverse concept, and like, do you want to party like all the time in the metaverse, or should we focus on digital nations and virtual societies?
Yeah,
you know, that's.
When you lay it out like that,
it's like I want to party.
Yeah, I want to party. Who's gonna say, "Nah, dude, I wanted to hear about the economics"? Like,
yeah, right.
Yeah, no, everybody's gonna want to party, dude. Shit.
Yeah, at least
we'll see.
Crypto people might be interested in the economics of it because adds to the speculation. But let us know what you think in the comment section below, and let us know what you think about the metaverse and the other side, and follow us on Twitter at the Block Runner and also at MetaZone.io and Rovi AI, and we will catch you in the next video.
Peace.